Hello, hello. I want to know, do you ever start a project with vigor and zeal and then lose your drive to finish? That's what we're talking about today on this episode, how to keep momentum going to finish your projects. If you haven't been here yet, I'm Dr. Amanda, the host of Max Potential Money. If you're a coach or an entrepreneur, this is your place to get weekly tips and tricks on money, mindset, marketing, and manifestation to help you make way more money in your business. Oh yeah. This question is awesome because it comes from a fan, Jury. Shout out to you. If you haven't seen his YouTube channel, it's the Wade Market channel on YouTube, W-E-I-D-E Market. And he asked this question. And so something that I want to do is when you all reach out to me with a question that you want answered, I will come here and answer it for you. So this is what he said this week in a comment on the previous episode. He said, "Hey, Amanda, been wondering what happened to you because you all know I took a break to rebrand to Max Potential Money. Great to see you back on the air again. I fully agree that we all should be making a positive impact on the world around us with no NFA excuses. High fives to that. Love your content and the tips and knowledge you share. I think I have good positive beliefs about money and using it for good to make an impact." Yes, yes, yes. I hope that's how you all feel about money. The question he says, I am great at starting things at full steam ahead. So what I'd like to hear more of is how do I back off a little in the beginning to have some left over for the finish? I'd like to get to a level where I actually finalize the projects I start with so much vigor and zeal. I don't know about you, but I hear this from people all the time. I lose my momentum. I burn out. I feel like I don't know how to continue. I get stuck with shiny object syndrome. I procrastinate. I see so many people starting projects and they're not able to finish. So I want to bring some answers to you, Jury, and to also anyone else who's listening who struggles with this. I've already talked to a few people about this week and asked them like, hey, is this an issue for you? And they're like, absolutely yes. And in all the people I've gotten to work with, I definitely see this happening. And it's happened to me in the past too, for this first reason that I'm going to tell you. So when we don't finish a project, it's actually a symptom of these three things. And this first one is something I used to struggle with, which is misaligned values. That was the struggle for me. Fear also came up, and or a lack of a clear plan. So if you notice yourself losing momentum, losing steam, losing your vigor and zeal, so you start something with like all this excitement and all this, you're just like, yes, 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 I'm taking it on, I'm doing it. And then you notice over time that there's this downward spiral and you're procrastinating, hesitating, avoiding, not doing it, or never even finishing, then it might be these three things. So misaligned values, fear, or a lack of a clear plan. Let's break these down. So misaligned values has to do with you living in other people's values. What are your values? They're not things like honesty and integrity. It's things like your highest priority action steps. So when you're living in your highest values, it means you're living in your zone of genius. It means that you're waking up every day, and you've heard me say this many times before if you've been listening to me for a while. It's you waking up inspired, on fire, alive, ready to do your thing because you're so in your zone of genius, doing the things that really inspire you, that you don't procrastinate, you don't hesitate, you don't get distracted with shiny object syndrome. You're clear, you're decisive. And that is something that I think we all need to be on the quest to do, is live within our highest value system. You'll notice that you're not doing this if you lose steam. You'll notice that you're not living in your zone of genius if you feel tired or kind of resentful or frustrated or stuck, or you are what I say, shoulding yourself. So you're shoulding yourself, meaning you might have heard that this is something you should be doing by outside sources, people that you admire, they're like, oh, they're getting there so fast in their business, I want to be there too. So you take on the things that they're doing, even though they're not really aligned with what you love to do the most. The greatest momentum and magnetism happens when we're living fully in our aligned value system, which is your zone of genius. So remember that. If you're feeling like, maybe I need to assess whether or not I'm doing the things I really want to do because you're not finishing projects. Start to reflect on that. Get to know yourself and think like, am I doing this for someone else? Am I truly doing this for me? Am I truly doing things that are aligned for me? You want to ask yourself those questions. Number 2, fear. Okay, I think of fear as future expectations of awful results. Fear is a future projection of something that has not yet happened, and we're basically creating it to happen by thinking about it a lot, because remember, what we focus on expands. So if you're focused on all the things you're afraid of, you create that reality and you hesitate moving forward because you have projected all these ideas about what could happen that could go wrong. So future expectations of awful results. This leads to doubt, uncertainty, and you not wanting to finish projects. So you want to be thinking, okay, if when I start a project and I step into it and I've got all this excitement in the beginning, and then what could happen is that self-doubt moves in, imposter syndrome moves in, fear, worry, people start questioning what you're doing. You start questioning yourself for what you're doing. So that inner critic voice starts to get really loud. It's going to cause you to hesitate and procrastinate and potentially get distracted by something else, shiny object syndrome, and then you're going to not finish the project. So that could be another reason that you're not finishing. I don't know all of your information, jury, but I'm hoping this is resonating with people who are listening, because these are very common things that come up with not finishing projects. So if you're in that space of fear, what really can alleviate that is the next one, which is a plan. Okay, so it might be that it's in your highest values, but that your imposter syndrome or your inner critic or your self-doubt starts to step in, and then you hesitate. And what that really could look like is making a plan. So if you have a lack of a clear plan, we will often hesitate and procrastinate because we don't really know what we're doing. And if you're failing to plan, you're planning to fail. I think it was Benjamin Franklin that said that. Such a great quote. And it's very true. Think about the things that you follow through on and that are really easy to accomplish. It's because you have a clear plan, or because you know how to do it so easily that you don't even need a plan. When we're taking on something new and exciting, which is what I'm hearing you say in this question, is that like you start a new project, so it's something new that you're doing, which means you're going to need an even better plan. A lot of people take on projects and they don't even write a plan out at all. They feel that sense of like, oh, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to start this. So they step in, but then they lose the momentum because they haven't created any sort of plan of action. So I really like to help people see projects through by creating a clear plan. And I've gotten to where I actually compress it down to 30 days. So I do a 30-day plan of action instead of like a year-long plan of action or an entire project plan of action. So if you're taking on a huge project, you want to start to chunk it down into smaller bite-sized pieces so that you can actually take strategic action every day and not lose your momentum. So momentum gets built by being consistent. And momentum is one of those things where you want to be consistent in your daily actions. Small, steady growth equals big, huge gains over the course of a year. So I think a lot of people get stuck in this place of imbalance where they take off running like it's a sprint, and they forget like, oh, this is actually a lifelong sprint. If it's a business endeavor, could be a smaller project, but still you need to take strategic, steady, daily, consistent action, and that takes a plan. So start chunking it down into 30 days and go, okay, if let's say right now it's the beginning of February, over the course of the month, and what am I going to do each week to start working on this plan, and start checking it off every single day. And what happens is you start to create a positive neural association in your brain that goes like, oh, I can do this. I can do it one small step at a time. And then you get a feedback loop that makes you want to do it the next day again. And then you can check off from your plan. If you have no plan at all, your brain gets up in the morning and goes, I don't even know what to do. I don't know what step to take. And it starts to feel overwhelming. And so that initial momentum that you felt, or that initial excitement, starts to turn into fear and doubt. So I hope this helps. Let me know. I'd love to hear your comments. And thank you all so much for being here. I hope that you all have an incredible week where you get aligned in your value system, drop your fears, create some strategic plans, because money making is about alignment in your values, allowing yourself to move through fear, and creating a clearly defined plan. Slow and steady wins the race. Be a money magnet. NFA high fives.
Thank you for listening to or watching this episode and for being a part of the NFA family. You are why I do what I do. If you're liking what you're learning here on Max Potential Money, you will definitely want to go to www.nfamasterclass.com to learn about the #1 deadly money mistake all entrepreneurs make. Again, that's www.nfamasterclass.com. Until next time, remember to be NFA today.